It's the Hoopwise podcast from New England Basketball Journal, a comprehensive look at the basketball landscape in New England, tracking prospects, recruiting, college, and more, with your hosts, Steve Hewitt and Ethan Fuller.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Hoopwise podcast. I am Steve Hewitt, joined as always by my partner in crime here, Ethan Fuller. We are the New England Basketball Journal. Ethan, it's finally like time for games.
I know. Oh my gosh. As much as I love writing, I'm a little tired of writing previews.
Yeah.
I would like to write about some basketball.
Yeah.
So we're here.
I know we've kind of talked about it till we've been blue in the face recently in the office. I think we might have even mentioned it on the podcast. Just we started this thing in July, and it's just we haven't had a season yet. So we got in kind of late with the AAU season, and this is our finally the NEPSAC season is here. I know the boys already started, and we were at NABL opening weekend, and I've been to a few boys games, but NEPSAC girls are finally here.
Yep.
And I know you're excited about it. At your previous stop at the Globe, you had a little bit of familiarity with the NEPSAC, but this will be your first season kind of full throttle with the girls.
Yeah.
How excited are you to
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I like you kind of said it when I was at the Globe. We covered, again, MIA, and if there was a great NEPSAC story, we would always keep an eye on the prospects there. But I definitely was kind of more popping in and out and seeing different NEPSAC games, and we would cover the tournament at the end of every year, and that was always a great time. So I'm excited to be all in on it this year. Again, we will be getting to MIAA once that season starts in December, but yeah, NEPSAC girls season is finally starting this week. This episode will go live after I have gone out to my first event, which is Northfield Mount Herman has a tip-off classic with 4 teams I'm really excited to watch. It's NMH, it's Wilbraham and Munson, Dexter, Southfield, and Darrow, and I'm really excited to see all 4 of those. And yeah, as you kind of said, I'm just really excited to finally be able to jump in and watch a lot of these teams play throughout a full season versus just kind of seeing the end product at the end of the year like I used to.
Yeah, we're kind of sick of writing these previews and talking to the coaches, and we just want to see some actual action.
Yeah, we do.
So, but before we kind of dive into the weeds, I guess with the NEPSAC, which is going to be a really exciting NEPSAC season, we're going to get into some title picks. We're going to get into players and teams to watch. Yep. But first, let's kind of set the stage, I guess, because there have been some significant changes within the NEPSAC girls, some changing of classes and teams kind of moving around between classes, and some new team. There's a new class, right? Why don't you, Ethan? I know you wrote a story about this a few months ago, but kind of set the stage for us. What are the changes, and what do you kind of think of some of these new classes, I guess?
Yeah, it is significant. I know we were kind of comparing. There were some minor changes on the boys' side, and this is more of a NEPSAC-wide overhaul with what they did on the girls' side. As you mentioned, there's now a Class AAA. There are only 7 teams in it. They are 7 of the best teams in all of NEPSAC. They're all going to make the postseason towards the end. I am really excited to see how this kind of looks, but again, I'll list those 7 teams. It's Nobles, Tabor, Tilton, Dexter, Southfield, New Hampton, St. Andrews, and Hoosac, and kind of just the stalwarts of NEPSAC for a long time, as you'd expect. And I think the ripple effect is AA looks very different now, and we'll get into it more when I talk about my title picks, but none of the AA playoff teams from last year are in AA anymore. So it is a completely, some of the teams coming back are the same, but the championship picture is totally different in AA. Class A looks pretty similar. A lot of the more traditional schools, I've talked to some coaches about this, and they've explained that a lot of these kind of traditional long tenured NEPSAC schools that have been around forever and have kind of the same philosophy with how they approach athletics and basketball. A lot of them are in Class A, and they're just kind of content where they are, which is understandable. So it's still a very strong class. And then Class B, I'm really, really excited about. Rivers, which was a AA school, moved down to Class B. We'll talk about them later. I think Class B, it's not only is it the largest class among all of them, AAA down to D, I think it has the most competitive title race, at least this year. And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. With Class AAA, obviously the highest class. I think you wrote that they hadn't publicly released the playoff structure. I don't know if that's been announced yet, but I think
nothing is officially public. What I know is every team will make the playoffs, and that I believe if it works out, if I'm visualizing this correctly in my head, that I think the top seed will have a bye. And that'll be how it works. And so it's definitely a different format. Even thinking about last year with AA, it was only 14 teams, but still that's, barely more than half of the league making the playoffs. And so to have all 7 is different. That being said, I'm glad I get to see all 7 in a playoff environment because all these teams are nasty, and it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I kind of like the added incentive of the top seed getting a bye. It kind of makes the regular season maybe a little more meaningful, and like obviously all teams will make the playoffs, but if you're the top seed, get that bye, you only have to win 2 games to win the championship.
Yeah,
instead of 3.
There's still plenty to play for. And again, that was me trying to quickly visualize it in my head.
Yeah.
There might be a different procedure that they're going to go with, but I think too, especially with it in Loomis Chaffee this year, which is not a Class AAA school, they're Class A. It's going to be a neutral site for everyone. I'm sure a lot of people are psyched about that. I know having now gone to Loomis Chaffee at once for the summer showcase, that school and gym environment is really, really great. And so I'll be excited to be down there in March. Yeah.
So I guess let's dive into AAA. I feel like it's probably most appropriate to start with the favorite, who, if you're following us, you've probably seen our magazine cover. Go and subscribe and get your copy now. But Tabor's on the cover. The Tabor girls are on the cover. You wrote a great feature story on sort of their revenge tour, quote unquote, with their big 3 coming back and one last ride together. What are you expecting from Tabor? What are your expectations? What are you excited about with them? I know they have a ton of talent. They're kind of stacked at the top.
Absolutely.
So,
and again, I imagine AAA is probably the class we'll unpack the schools the most as we go through this, but yeah, it's probably been Tabor overload on our site recently.
Yeah.
But they, just on paper, I know that they did lose some important players, but on paper, they bring back a lot of the core that helped them win a NEPSAC title in 21-22, that with like Kaylin Carroll, Ava Black, Liv Rodriguez, they're the big 3 that we talked about. Carroll just committed to Kentucky, Ava Black at Vanderbilt, Liv Rodriguez at Providence. So they're just such a great, versatile trio, all seniors, plenty of experience. Not to give away too much of the story, but Ava Black's coming off a PCL injury. She missed all last year. Kaylin Carroll dealt with an ankle sprain and then a concussion, and those were challenges for her. So they're definitely motivated. And again, even beyond them, I think this roster on paper is so deep. Like, I didn't even in that story get into Molly Corcoran, who's committed to Colgate D1. She is a 2026 point guard. She got a lot of really good run for them last year. I'm really excited to see her again. Corrine Lomax is one of the best transfers, period. She's a 2027. I think she is going to be flirting with a double-double on any given night, like a true power forward. She is really strong, especially when you think about her age and class. Even when I went to the open gym as part of working on this story, Tess Adams really stuck out to me. The staff really, really loves Lauren Fitzgerald, so I'll be interested in keeping an eye on her. Lily Davis is a freshman, 2028. A lot of people already are giving glowing reviews of her. It's one of those teams. I'm not going to compare them to the recent Nobles teams because those teams are just legendary at this point, but this kind of perfect storm of you have this experienced star power and you have this depth where you can go with different options and different lineup looks. Yeah, so that's why they're number 1. That being said, like, it's not there. You could go in, I think, 4 or 5 different directions with a team that you like. AAA is stacked. It's a really, really great class.
Yeah, just sticking with Tabor just for one more minute.
Yeah.
Not to get too deep into your cover story because we want people to subscribe and read it, but it was a great story on kind of what they have coming back and everything. But what are you sensing in terms of like their motivation and their kind of drive and hunger, especially that core 3? What did they kind of impart on you and tell you about how they're feeling going into the season?
Yeah,
it's their final season together.
I think it was interesting for each of them. I think I'll start with Ava Black. She explained Just the fact that she had been away from basketball for so long. I think before that, people universally kind of respected her as one of the top prospects in the region. And at least she feels that respect isn't there in the same way anymore. So she is definitely motivated. She, I think, by far had the biggest chip on her shoulder among the three that I talked to. I'm really excited to see her play and kind of show people who she is as this versatile kind of do-it-all guard wing, really high-level defender, takes advantage of space really well, gets to the shots she wants really well, efficient shooter too, just kind of a player that you can plug in so many different ways and have her make a winning impact. And then with Caitlin Carroll, it was the injuries. Again, this is, I mentioned the ankle and the concussion, but going back to sophomore year, she had meniscus surgery. She tore her quad during the AAU season. I think all of that, she proved herself during the summer. I don't know how much we've talked about it on the podcast, but if you followed at all in this girls' basketball space, you know how insane of a summer she had. Rose up to 15th in ESPN's rankings, kind of reestablished herself as, like, obviously one of the best players in the country. So she's done that, proving on that level of who she is. I think she just, again, wants to kind of prove that this core that they've developed knows how to win. They want to get back to winning. And then Liv, she got to stay healthy through most of last year and emerged as a real go-to piece. Will Becker described her. He's coached for 33 years, and he said she was one of the 2 or 3 smartest players he's ever coached, which is pretty glowing praise. So I don't know what she has to prove. I think it's more she has become such an instrumental piece of this team, and winning is obviously validating of her impact. But I think it's more just, she wants to go out with her friends. And I thought one of the most interesting parts, I didn't really get into this in the story that much, was that they were pretty fierce competitive rivals growing up on the AAU circuit. Not that they hated each other, but like didn't like each other and went at each other when they played. And then they eventually teamed up on the Bay State Jaguars and then at Tabor. And obviously they're like best friends now. So I think the friendship arc is pretty cool with the three of them. And
kind of gone through a lot together, right? Let's keep going through the rest of AAA. I know, was it your top 4 in your power rankings are all AAA?
Top four AAA.
Right.
Number 6 is AAA. Number 9 is AAA. And I know that Husek did not make it, but they are right on the cusp, and I don't want to leave them out because their backcourt, Carolina Williams is a UNH commit, and Anna Moser, who was the reigning Vermont Gatorade Player of the Year, you could put her in the tier of like the single most impactful transfer that is going to come into NEPSAC. It might be her, and she's a 27. She was filthy at the showcase. I'm really excited to see her play. Yeah. But so I want to make sure Husek gets some love in here. But the top 4, in addition to Tabor at number 1, Nobles, 2-time reigning champs, kind of speaks for itself. Could very easily call them still the best team in New England. They have Jasmine Cooper, who I know we've talked about a good amount on the podcast. She is ranked, I believe, 48th now by ESPN. Okay. I won't restate everything we've already said, but I'm a huge fan of her versatility in her game. Christina Pham, Fairfield commit, one of the best shooters in the state. Ashley Dingus, again, double, close to automatic at this point. So you have, kind of similar to Tabor, you have this senior big 3 that knows how to win. Yeah. I think Nobles has some more questions to answer about what the rest of the rotation looks like. Aaliyah Alston-Pujols is a freshman that I think is really, really talented and will make an impact right away. Then you got Vanessa Ellis and Bryn Bryant kind of leading the supporting cast. There is some work that needs to be done to figure out what the rest of the pieces look like. But I'm not going to doubt that Nobles can figure that out. And they are definitely in the hunt. And then Tilton's really good, super deep, led by a lot of seniors, including Colleen Fury, who is another one of our preseason All New England team members. Really talented. I will consistently go to bat for her as one of the more underrated players in New England. She's committed to Colgate. And then Dexter Southfield, extremely young team that is probably going to start a 2028 and a 2029 player. Yeah. But they are both awesome. Ella Pieper, who...
Ella Pieper.
Not much more needs to be said at this point. I'm trying to tone down the hype train at this point, but she is like legit. She made ESPN's 2028 watch list. Yeah. So, and then Avery Bolin is really talented too. So I don't want to skip over her. And they got Izzy Adams, who is just a ridiculous passer as a transfer point guard. Cam Durba, great shooter. Brooke Nunnally Gardner, great versatile wing. I know I'm throwing a ton of names at you, but the point is these 4 teams are really deep. The 4 semifinalists, I don't expect any of them to take a significant step back. I really like New Hampton, another young team, but they have a lot of really great talent. Specifically, their transfer Serenity Lancaster is a 2026 forward. I think she is going to be so good. I wouldn't even call her a breakout at this point. I would assume / hope a lot of people have either heard of her name, definitely if you're in Connecticut, but she is going to tear up NEPSAC, and really excited about her. And then the last one in AAA, St. Andrews, 11, I believe, of the 12-player roster, 11 are returners, and I think I had that right. But the point is they're really experienced, led by Mason Hill, Fordham commit. They have this awesome front court duo. Molly Sisson is 6'3", and Madison Krug is 6'4", both Division I prospects. They're going to be really good too. So again, that is a long, long way of me saying you really don't get a night off in AAA, because all these teams are deep and stacked. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. I think everything obviously starts probably with Tabor. They're the clear-cut favorite in our eyes. Who would you? Is it Nobles? Is that the biggest challenger to Tabor? Or are we looking at a Tabor Nobles like clash at the end? Is that where all kind of roads are leading, or can you see one of these other teams who are in your top 10? They're not exactly sleeper teams, but can you see one of them maybe sneaking in? Is there a dark horse that you see can really challenge Tabor for that?
I'm not going to consider any, like you said, I'm not going to consider any of these sleeper teams, because if you're in AAA, everyone should know these teams are great. Yeah. That being said, for me, at the start of the season, it has looked like a 2-horse race between Tabor and Nobles. Again, given the star power, given the winning pedigree with both of them, break that out a little bit more, and I would open it up to 4. I think the 4 preseason legitimate title contenders are Tabor and Nobles and Tilton and Dexter Southfield. Tilton has come so close. They have lost. They lost in the final last year, and that was a really great game. They pushed Nobles better than I honestly thought they were going to. And then they won the National Prep Championship after that. Dexter Southfield just has the highest upside of all these teams if it clicks. And the fact that they made it to the semifinals last year shows they are well on course. If it clicks, they could very easily just become the champions. Yeah. And I will shout out New Hampton. I'm very, very high on New Hampton, and they're kind of young talent. I don't know if this is the year that they're going to be able to break through, but get on that train, because they are really talented, and they could definitely break through one of those 4 teams. Yeah.
I'm really excited about Dexter in particular, just because that they are supremely talented. Their talent already stacks up with the best of the best in NEPSAC, but they're younger than all those teams too. So even Izzy Adams is a 2026, right? And then we talked about Pieper, 2028, Avery Boland's a 2029. Yep. Could this be like this? I'm not going to make any predictions on them, but could be like the start of the next great team in NEPSAC like this season.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like they are young, but they are not inexperienced, and they're not raw. Like you said, this is a team that can very capably win right away. And again, we've talked a lot about the kind of top young prospects they have. Izzy Adams is going to be really good. Cam Durba, also a transfer, is kind of immediately in that conversation for elite shooters in NEPSAC. Sam Barton, I know they have given a glowing review of as a breakout player with potential. Just the fact, and I know, so they graduated Orla Gormley, who did so much for them, and kind of when the offense stalled, she could just make something happen in a way that few other players can. I wonder what that is going to look like for Dexter Southfield this year, if they have a single player who they can give the ball to, and not even just say, get us a bucket, but like create an advantage for us, and then we can play out of that. We will need to see if they find that person, whether that is Ella Pieper, whether that's Izzy Adams. But like you said, this is a young team. This is not a raw team. They are fully capable of winning now. And again, a lot of this core is going to be here for a few years, which is really crazy, because that's going to be a good team.
Yeah. I know my beat is more boys, but I think I'm going to have to make some trips to see some girls games this winter in AAA.
Absolutely,
because
yes.
some of these matchups are really going to be fun to watch. Yeah. And I encourage any local basketball fans in the area to check some of these teams out. Some of the best girls in the country are right in our backyard.
Yep.
Let's move down to Class AA, unless you had any more thoughts on AAA.
No, I think that's good.
Before we move on.
We can just, bottom line is these teams are really good. So if you see them on the schedule, go watch them.
Yeah. Do we want to get into title picks now, or any predictions?
Yeah, maybe.
Or do you want to wait till the end?
We could do that. Maybe we do class by class.
Okay. So I put you on the spot here, and you already wrote it. Let's put some bulletin board material out there for the AAA teams who takes it home this winter.
So my pick is Tabor, and I know it's tough because this class is so stacked. Nobles could really make me look silly immediately. It is very hard for me to pick against them with how well coached they are, how experienced their best trio is. Tabor they started on top of my power rankings for a reason. They are really deep and really stacked at the top. I'm a believer. So
right.
yeah, that's my pick. You
Tabor
can lock it
is.
in.
You're locked in. All right, let's move down. Let's move down to Class AA. A lot of movement there as well with new teams, and it's kind of wide open, right?
Yes,
I think that's what you said, and I'll let you have the floor for AA. Like who sticks out for you there, and what players and teams should we be watching in AA?
AA is really interesting, as I kind of mentioned at the beginning. 10 teams, I believe four of them are new, if I'm doing my math right. And a lot of these teams, whether you are new or a returning AA team, there is a lot of turnover that is happening in some phase of the program. So I think I listed them all. So Worcester Academy, for example, third coach in 3 seasons. Dan Sullivan comes over. He was a boys assistant. He's going to be leading the girls. Darrow is jumping all the way up from Class D to AA. Abby Streeter is the coach there now. Darrow is, I'm kind of in wait and see mode with them because I don't know what this leap looks like, but they did get a lot of really good transfer players, and I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by Darrow. I don't know if I have a statement to make about them, but Newman, and you've alluded to this a little bit in your feature story, and I think we've talked about it. They are a completely new program. Sam Donor is running that. They got a lot of good transfers towards the end of the summer. Gabby Middleton, who is a 2027, one of the best prospects in her class, is now at Newman. Again, I'm in wait and see mode with them because I don't know what to expect from a totally new program, but the talent is there. I'm really intrigued by it.
Yeah.
Then McDuffie's got a totally new roster, no returners. Winchenden has 3 returners, so they're largely a new roster. Even Austin Prep, who I think is a very solid team, and I think they will make some noise in this class. They're only in year 3 of being an NEPSAC school, and there is still a growth process that is going on there. That is a long way of me saying a lot is up in the air here, in my opinion. And again, this is reflected in the top 10. The immediate favorites are Northfield Mount Herman, returning AA school. They've had success in the past. They were solid last year, missed out on the AA playoffs, but again, the class was really strong last year. Mm-hmm. They brought in 8 transfers, including Grace Minahan, who another person who was like the biggest explosion name at the NEPSAC showcase. She's a post-grad from Colorado Christian, and I think she is a really, really talented player. And Olivia Fleming, exciting guard to watch at NMH. That tandem is going to be really good, and they have a lot more behind that. So Northfield, Mount Herman, or you could go with Wilbraham and Munson, who, as of me saying this, opened their season with a win against Worcester Academy. Good start for them. I think it was 63-49. They have this junior duo, Katarina Ravosa and Sela Prignano, who are 2 of the best juniors in New England. They both made my 2026 watch list. Both really strong Division I prospects. Prignano in particular was one of my favorite players to watch when we were kind of behind the scenes looking at AAU tournaments. I saw a lot of her, and she was really, really good. I like her a lot.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because we will have seen these 2 teams play by the time we're next on recording, and so we'll have to see what the takeaways are of that. But those two are kind of not head and shoulders, but my immediate go-tos as favorites in this class.
Yeah. NMH, you mentioned eight transfers, and they also lost a pretty big piece.
They did. Danny Cesaretti is at Villanova now, so that is a big loss. And I think she's doing pretty well there. Last I was kind of checking in on her stats and stuff. So good for her.
Hey, it's Bobby Moran, Director of Athletics at Thayer Academy. You know what? Experience matters, and Thayer Academy's professional coaching staff understands how to work with each student athlete to help them succeed. Our coaches and faculty are committed to ensuring both 5th to 12th graders feel known, connected, and prepared. This is Thayer's secret sauce, nurturing each student to reach their full potential. Here, success is truly a team sport. Are you ready for your child to take the next step? See what Thayer has to offer at thayer.org. That's THAYER.org.
Are you serious about playing your sport in college? Do you need a flexible education that allows you to maintain your practice and competition schedules while also preparing you to succeed at the next level? You should check out the University of Nebraska High School. UNHS is accredited and offers more than 100 online courses, including NCAA-approved courses to protect your academic eligibility. Students could earn a UNHS diploma or take a single course for transfer credit. Courses are college prep, self-paced, and available 24/7, 365. Enroll anytime and take up to a year to complete a course. Visit highschool.nebraska.edu today.
So I know you spent some time talking with them for a preview. BasketballJournal.com. Find all our team previews.
We got a lot of previews out there. Yeah.
What did they kind of tell you about how they're planning on replacing her, or how they feel like these 8 transfers are going to kind of mold together and gel together? Is it going to feel like it's going to take some time before we see them at their peak? And what did they kind of tell you about how that's all coming together?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to take some time. They were one of the earliest teams that I reached out to for a preview. I think it was back in September when I wrote that. So I'm sure a lot has gotten better since then. I'm, again, really excited to see them this weekend. But the big place to start is with Olivia Fleming, who is a returner, not a transfer. She is 2026 captain. Again, really, really talented, quick, explosive scoring point guard. Her floater game is one of the best I've seen in this region. She is money when she gets to drive and hit the floater. So she's going to set the tone with a lot. And I just think her program experience will be helpful for them to start. And then even the fact that they got transferred, these aren't freshman transfers. Like Minahan is a post-grad, and she's going to be really talented. Zariah Otley, who, if I have the path right, went from Rockland to South Shore Christian and is now here. She is a really interesting player type, kind of larger, stronger guard, even though she's maybe 5'7" or 5'8". She is this like really powerful guard who can also make plays. So I like her a lot. Meg Albee is someone they have been giving glowing reviews about. She's transferring from Class D Vermont Academy, and really, really great shooter. They've said a lot of good things about her, so I'm excited to see how that fit looks. So yeah, I think it will definitely take time. I wonder like if 7 in the power rankings for the start of the season was fair, but I do think especially by the end, because a lot of their transfers already have experience, it's going to be an easier acclimation process for that group. And I'll be really excited to see what they look like in the playoffs, because they should be hitting their stride then a lot better than maybe some of these other teams that a lot of their transfers are sophomores and freshmen. Yeah.
Some sleepers, AA. I know you're high on Storm King.
Yeah, Storm King. So, and again, I think this comes off the fact that some of these programs have a little bit more continuity than a lot of these kind of larger team-wide rebuilding processes that are going to be happening in AA. Storm King under Tien Tang, he's in his second year. They went 12-11 last year with only 8 players in a Class AA that was like a lot stronger. And so I'm really interested to see what it looks in year 2 for him. They have a couple of really, really good players. Maddie Torre, who is from Sweden, last played in Hong Kong. She is this really talented post player. I think Central Connecticut State is one of her Division I offers, and she has another one. But she's going to be a very talented post player, another transfer I'm really excited to watch. I just want to make sure I get her name right. Liz Ukajenya is their best returning scorer, who is younger for age 2. I believe she's a sophomore. And so, again, there will be pieces that they need to figure out, but I'm more confident because they have a coach who has done a pretty good job with what he's had. They're up to 12 players now instead of 8. I think Storm King will be able to put things together faster than some of these other programs. And Marionopolis, too, I wrote down. Bella Mealy is going to be really, really good. She just started getting Division I offers. I saw a little bit of her with the Mass Huskies on the AAU circuit. She is super, super talented. That is going to be a fun team because their coach, Wes Howard, said they are not afraid to let it fly from behind the arc, and they have the shooters to do it. I don't know how it's going to look because they are a very young team, but they're going to be fun, at least. I will make sure that I get to some of their games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wide open in AA.
Yes.
It's time to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Who's the title pick?
This is another one that I so we talked about NMH. I'm going to pick NMH as my title pick. But this is another one where, at least on the surface, NMH and Wilbraham and Munson are close to a coin flip for me, and it all depends on how well NMH, and it goes for the other teams too, are able to gel. Wilbraham and Munson has, if I'm looking at these teams, by far the best kind of returning continuity, as not only as the Class C champions, but just with the amount of roster talent that they have back. I don't really know what that's going to look like and what kind of difference that'll make in March, but we will see.
All right. NMH, put it on the board.
Yeah. Man, I'm nervous. I love making picks and I love getting the smoke for it, but I'm definitely nervous too.
Hey man, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
That's all right. Let's move it down to Class A. Mm-hmm. I know we got Loomis Chafee. They're chasing a 4-peat.
Yep.
Right. Is kind of all roads leading through there, or what are your who else might be there to watch and challenge Loomis Chafee for a title in Class A?
Yeah, so they are the heavy favorite. They are stacked as usual. It starts with Alicia Mitchell, who again made the preseason All New England team for us. Columbia commit, center, awesome two-way center, automatic double-double, great anchor of a defense who's fairly mobile for her size and just a really good rim protector too, with great shooting touch out to the mid-range. I've heard she's trying to expand to three-point range too, so I'm excited to see how that's going. Abby Congdon was their tournament MVP as this kind of smart defense first, really great point guard. They have a bunch. Their coach, Adrian Stewart's really preached to me that Anaya Neal might be on breakout watch for them. Liv Westfort's another really good athletic forward. I could keep going, but the point is Loomis Chafee is stacked again. Not to give away my title pick immediately, I'm going to pick Loomis Chafee. However, there is a decent, kind of similar to last year. I think the semifinalists will be in the hunt again. So you got Kent. Kent's always does a really good job, and they have Morgan Johnson, Assumption-bound guard. She was an all-league pick for them last year. I think she is really talented. Hotchkiss has this duo, Kayla Richards, great guard, committed to Bucknell, and Morgan Jenkins had an awesome summer on the AAU circuit, picked up, I believe, double digit. I don't know what the count got up to, but it was definitely 10 plus Division I offers. Great summer with the Bay State Jaguars. Just kind of gritty rebounder and two-way. I think she's 6'2", so maybe a little small for a true center, but is a very, very good kind of post player. Does a lot of the little things really well. So I like her. That duo is going to be really good. So that's for Hotchkiss. They'll be in the running. And then Sacred Heart, I've really been intrigued by. They will have Eva Wilkerson coming back, who she missed a lot of last season with injuries, but is a super athletic forward and really fun to watch. Prior to injury, I hope and believe that she will be kind of back on track. Luciana Parada, who played for the Puerto Rican national team, was on our 2027 watch list. And then you have Aisha Hassan, who is a I don't know if she's post-grad, but 2025 transfer from Egypt, who was committed to Arkansas, which was very recent. And I didn't really have her on my radar until I saw that. And then I was kind of digging in a little bit more, and I was like, man, she's really talented. And so this kind of guard group might elevate Sacred Heart in a way that I didn't really expect. So I'm excited to see them. But again, it is going to take a lot to beat Loomis. Loomis is nasty. They are 5 in my top 10, the only class there. I mean, I have them ranked above almost half of AAA. I have them ranked above every AA team. Loomis is really good. So I welcome every team to give them their best shot.
Yeah. Are they, I don't know do you know what their schedule looks like? Are they playing any of those AA, AAA? They
will. I don't know their exact schedule, but they usually schedule pretty well. I'm going to have to look it up. But
I'd be interested to see if they can move up in your power rankings, and
see.
Can they go above?
Possibly. I'll have to to look what their schedule's looking like and if they play those top 4. But yeah, they're really talented, and they have a player who goes on and is great in college too every single year. So I'm excited to see them.
Yeah. Are there any other players in Class A that you want to highlight? I know Thayer has a has a couple
Yeah.
talented players, and who else maybe in the weeds of Class A, or are you intrigued to see this season?
Yeah, so Thayer's got a really good guard tandem. Ellie Grant and Jasmine James, they were both all-league last year. Jasmine James, I believe, committed to Franklin Pierce. So I'll be excited to see the guard duo. I've been told, I haven't talked a lot about Choate, but coaches have told me that Choate's a good sleeper, and I know they have Abby Kim, another really great guard. Those would be the two that immediately stick out to me. Phillips Andover is always pretty good. They find a way to be in the hunt. Same with Taft. But yeah, I think those four would be the kind of immediate standouts to me.
Yeah. Right. Class A talented. A lot more than just Loomis, but we're gonna put Loomis on the
which should be no surprise
on the bulletin board. Yeah, no surprise, but should be fun to watch that this winter. And I guess let's wrap this up with Class B, which I know you're probably the most excited of any class to see. The competition, like there's just so many good teams in Class B. I know you've highlighted Rivers, first year coach. Was it Kenny? Sorry,
Kenny Smalls Jr.
Kenny Smalls, that's right. I know you've highlighted them and wrote a feature on him. Take us through Class B and what you're most excited to see and the teams to watch there.
Yeah, so we can start with Rivers. Kenny Small Jr., as you said, he comes from Middlesex. He's going to be taking over the coach. He was kind of a late addition for Rivers as they were also making this move to Class B. So there is a lot of change going on here, but he is an experienced and capable coach, and I'm sure he's going to do a great job. And they also have a core that is really good. Natalia Hall-Rosa, Seton Hall commit, senior. Grace O'Sullivan, Princeton commit, senior. They were both on the Class B team for us. Narissa Smith, Stonehill commit, and then Chase Anderson is an Amherst College commit. So you got this kind of core four that immediately just kind of gives you a high floor, and then you kind of will be able to gel and develop chemistry from there. But I think Rivers is going to be really good again. And as you said, though, Class B, I think we talked about the parity in Class AA, but I think it's a little bit different in Class B, where like a lot of these teams are sustaining rosters that were successful last year, and they are going to be really good again. For example, St. Luke's has the reigning Class B Player of the Year back. Cam Nelson, another preseason All-New Englander for us, Syracuse commit, possibly the best guard in New England. She's awesome. She averaged like 21 a game last year. And they also have Olivia White. They have Grace Kearney, who I wrote about during the summer as a player who might not have the spotlight yet because she's not playing AAU, and that was a tactical choice by her. But if you didn't realize that, she's going to show you in this circuit how great of a 3-and-D talent she is. So, and Olivia White also is, I think, not to spoil a story I'm working on, she is going to be a breakout player, and I'm really excited to see her play. But so you got St. Luke's.
Sneak peek to your breakout. It's coming up.
Yeah. It'll be out before this goes live.
Yeah.
So, well. But so St. Luke's, you got St. George's. I feel bad because in the title predictions story I wrote, I didn't even give them enough love. They're the reigning champions. Angelina Marazzi, again, a new coach, but a capable coach. It was really interesting talking to her because she is all about developing confidence. And she talked about some of the issues that she has dealt with confidence in her playing career. And I think it's interesting. She's 27, so she has a closer scale of relatability with a lot of these players than I think other coaches might have. And so I think that'll help them transition to a new coaching style and whatever on-court product that looks like. I think it'll work for them. But that's largely the same roster coming back. You got Molly Donovan, Aaliyah Bracey, Olivia Van Patten, who's going to Hofstra. That is a core three that helped them win the Class B title last year. I think they went 24-4. They added 2 transfers. Gianna Nichols and Peyton Scurry will both be impact players there. That's going to be a really good team. And it's, again, so put them in the title contender mix. Put Greens Farms in the title contender mix. Cheyenne Brand's a high point commit, and Josiah Good is one of the best 2027 players, and another player I think deserves / will receive more love this winter when she goes off. And again, this is 29 schools. So if I look,
I was about to say 29 schools is pretty absurd.
Yeah, 29 schools and a lot of the playoff race is going to be hard. Lawrence Academy was a 3 seed last year, and they have some good players coming back. Beaver Country Day with Giovanna Costin, who I think is so underrated. They were a finalist last year. Brooks always a tough out. They have Summer Warren leading the way. Who else do we got in here? Greenwich Country Day, Suffield. Like, this is the playoff race alone is going to be, there are going to be good teams that don't even make the playoffs. Cushing has Alana Morantis, who's one of the best 2027 players. She was on the Class B team. Berkshire's, I think, will be pretty good. Groton has this class is really, really good. There are going to be
Can you tell Ethan's excited about Class B?
They're going to be good players. Yeah, they're going to be good players and teams that are not in the playoffs, which is tough for them, but it's going to be a really, really fun race. And so, yeah, that's why I'm just as excited, if not more so, about this title race than even like AAA or AA or A. Like, Class B is going to be really fun.
Yeah. It's 8 teams, right? Into the playoffs.
8 teams, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, even once you get in the playoffs, it's win or go home, right? It's not a series.
Win or go home. No easy matchups in the playoffs with how deep this class is. Yeah.
So, Rivers probably the favorite, but they could get knocked off by one of these schools.
Yep.
Right.
So Rivers, to kind of wrap it here, is my title pick.
Okay.
That is the one that maybe that's the one I have the least confidence in, and that's not it's not a shot at Rivers. It's just saying that there are so many schools that could jump in. Between, I think the top tier is maybe Rivers, St. George's, St. Luke's, Greens Farms, and you could argue some other schools after that, but I'm leaning Rivers right now because of their core talent. I think is the best core among. But again, it's going to take a little bit of time for them to put things together under a new coach and new system and all that.
All right. So put it on the bulletin board, everyone in New England.
Yep.
Ethan's got Tabor, Northfield, Mount Herman, Loomis Chaffee, and Rivers.
Yeah. And I will
just your top 4
just to round out the classes, I'll shout out Hamden Hall and Watkinson. Those would be my 2 in the last one, just to make sure everyone has the ability to expose me. Yeah. So
yeah. So bookmark this on YouTube or Spotify or whatever for 4 months from now when we're done with the season in March.
I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. I feel prepared, and I feel like I've done the work to put in the confidence to make these picks, but it's hard. These are like pretty much all these classes are competitive, and it's not a clear runaway for most of these. Even like I know we talked about Loomis, they're probably the biggest favorite among all the classes, but they won their Class A championship by 8 last year. So like winning it was not easy for them.
Yeah.
And it'll be the same this year. All these teams are so great. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for some of the December showcases that are coming up. My tentative plan is to get to Tabor has one the first weekend of December, and Nickerson is must attend.
Okay.
That is just an elite 3-day stretch.
When is that one? It's in December?
Yeah, that's the 20th to 22nd, I believe, and that's at Nobles.
Okay.
They get a ton of the best teams there, and I'm really excited about that.
All right, we got some busy winters ahead between the both of us, boys and girls.
Yep. Pray for my Ford Focus. It's gonna be a lot of driving.
Yeah,
the snow tires are coming on next week.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of miles on our cars trying to drive around and watch all these teams this winter.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really fun. Any parting thoughts on NEPSAC girls this winter, or anything we didn't touch on, or?
I don't think so. I mean, we talked about a lot of the best players.
Yeah.
I think I would just say, like, I don't know who I'm giving this advice to, if there are fans or parents or whatever that care, but like, and maybe I'm saying this to myself, but like, this season is very much going to be a process for a lot of teams, and we've talked about, especially a lot of these good teams, how much turnover is happening, even beyond roster, like coaching changes, class changes. It's going to be a process for a lot of these teams. And I guess this is for me mostly, is don't overreact to what happens in December. As excited as we are to watch this basketball, as excited as the players are to play and to get scouted, and there will be a lot of college coaches at some of these showcases. Remember, it's a process, and what you are in March we hope will be a lot better than where you are now. And it's just going to take some time. And that doesn't mean like coast through December, but there's a bigger picture than just these showcases.
It's a marathon, right? Not a sprint.
Yeah.
I would know. I'm the marathoner here, right?
I'm working on it. Not to get taught. I did 9 miles. We're getting there.
Shout out Ethan, 9 miles. Let's go.
Now I got to do that 3 times in a row almost to run a marathon. Dang. Okay.
All right, we're gonna get too off topic, but big winner ahead for both of us, boys and girls. Gonna be a really exciting winner for the NEPSAC girls and all the changes in the teams. And I'm really excited to see some of these playoff chases. Ethan, I know, is excited. You can just tell.
I hope you can tell. I'm fired up. Yeah,
he's fired up. We're fired up at New England Basketball Journal. And I think that'll do it for us for today.
Perfect.
Keep it locked on basketballjournal.com for all the content for this winter, NEPSAC boys and girls. For producer Dave Yaz, and that's Ethan. I'm Steve Hewitt. We'll catch you next time on the Hoopwise podcast.